Hey everybody, it's Kyle from Soil Agronomy, and let's talk about next year's inputs and supply concerns. So, the one thing I guess I would say that I'm having difficulty getting guys to fully understand is the change in shipping costs. So, let's say that shipping cost in 2019, $1,500 to $2,000 to get a container from China to the United States. So, 40-foot container, $1,500, $2,000. In August of this year, so August of 2021, it's $20,000. So shipping has gone up an astronomical percentage. It's like 1,000% up. So shipping cost is 10 times what it was from China a couple of years ago. So that's making some major issues as far as getting things here from there. It's affecting shipping costs across the United States. So on top of that, you have supply concerns with microchips. You got supply concerns getting stuff off those containers because it's more often than not who I'm talking to is looking for stuff to get off a container. So number one, we got shipping costs are up astronomical. So the other thing is the end user products are totally screwed up right now as well. So we're talking about pickup trucks. Everybody's seen the pictures down in Kentucky Motor Speedway full of brand new F-Series pickup trucks. I've talked to a couple guys. Ford Broncos are sitting on another raceway somewhere. I've been talking to guys about equipment purchases for next year. So I had a guy looking at planters. So bearing in mind this is in August of 2021. John Deere is out of planters for next year. They don't have any orders left. You can't build a planter for next year. You can't buy a Case IH planter. This is here obviously, but I'm imagining it's pretty much the same across the Midwest. There's a couple other suppliers that still have availability, but it's closing pretty soon. This is in August, so this is 8 months out. And last year we ordered a planter in September and it showed up in March. So a lot different than even last year. The other side of that is planter add-ons or attachments or parts. So I have a guy that was pricing out some new trash wheels for his planter. And the new trash wheels he was going to get, he had to order them by yesterday or else he wasn't going to get them by spring. 8 months in advance. So that's another major issue. So we can't get the end user products. It's costing way more. So let's look at fertilizer. So should potash be up? Basically almost double what it was last year. I don't really fully think so. They're taking advantage of us a little bit. So let's talk about 2022 inputs. So fertilizer's up, let's just say at least 150% of what it was last year. So or 100% of what it was last year, double, not quite double. I think it's probably close to 150% of the actual price last year. So if you take $300 potash, it's up to $500 this year. So it's not quite double. So say across the board, when I was looking at breakevens, I figured about 150% of last year's price. So when I look at last year's price of whatever the fertilizer was on a farm, I took it times 1.5 basically, and there's where I'm getting next year's fertilizer prices. So fert up 150%. I took chemicals up 10%. So chems up 10%. And I took seed flat to maybe down. Somebody's calling me while I'm talking on the phone. But anyway, I basically took seed flat. Maybe it's going to be up 2%. Maybe it's going to be up 5%. I basically kept it flat. We'll see what happens. You guys are going to shop around a little bit probably. So seed flat. And then land costs aren't too different. I did increase the overall equipment use costs. So fuel, everything else. I took that and added another, I think it was about $30 an acre. So everything basically up to one thing, maybe flat. And your land costs is probably going to be about the same. There might be some increases based on local things. But for the most part, land costs should be about the same. Maybe a little bit different, but not too different. So with this all said, I did a quick calculation based on next year's marketing price on corn. So around here I can sell corn for 2022 at $4.70, whatever it is on the market right now. It'll vary. But at that price, I took a 180 bushel yield on this particular farm. They're still making $201 an acre next year. $201. And let that sink in. I know it's really scary. We're up a bunch of we're definitely going to be up in chemicals. You just know how it is. It's basically going to be not necessarily shipping costs, but it's going to definitely be packaging because plastic is hard to come by. Seed, it's a wild card a little bit, but we've gotten prices, and I've gotten prices from other people. It's not a whole lot different than last year, which surprises a lot of people, but that's the way it is. And everything else is up. Fuel's up, parts are up, everything else is up. God, you don't even price out used equipment right now. It's insane. So with all that being said, they're still going to make a profit next year, and a really good one. I mean, if we're making $200 an acre, that is a good year for us. And I would imagine there's going to be guys that are going to be like, well, I'm going to break even next year. Have you sat down and actually figured this stuff out? Because I think a lot of guys are going to still make some decent money next year, all things considered. If you can't make decent money next year, your land cost might be double what ours is up this way. But even at another $75 an acre in land costs, which would be probably the highest in our area, that's still a $125 profit. So for us, anything over $100 an acre profit is usually pretty good. That's based on, 10, 12 years of doing different break-evens for farms. That's on corn. I have not done the numbers on beans, but basing off next year's pricing on beans, I would imagine it'd be in that $150 an acre range. So we're looking pretty good. And I know it's scary. Everything's up. You can't get parts for next year. You can't get parts right now. Keep in mind that these numbers are actual numbers. I basically tried my best, and it could fluctuate. So maybe there's another $25 an acre in there that we don't foresee yet. But it still could be a really good year next year. That being said, the end, and I'll end with this, is I've had comments from some farmers that suppliers are taking advantage of higher commodity prices. So remember, shipping's way up. Parts are hard to come by. You can't get stuff. You can't get new things. So the old things are worth more because you can't replace them. So guys that are looking for new stuff, they can't get it. So if they're looking to replace a piece of equipment, maybe they're looking at something slightly newer that's on the used market. Supply for new stuff is so short that we're affecting the used market and the secondary market on parts, everything else. So everything's got to come up. And I mean, there's school bus driver shortages right now. There's a number of shortages out there. So the biggest thing is with everything else up and, just everything coming up, I haven't increased my cost to my customers yet. I'm up a little bit. I may be up 4 to 5% in last year's costs. Seed costs is not going to be a whole lot different. Chemicals, that's basically going to be their packaging. I mean, it's just the way it is. You can't find plastic. You can't find jugs right now. I was at a gas station. They didn't even have bowls for soup the other day. I mean, it's just insane, the things that are short right now. Fertilizer would be the only thing that they might be taking a little bit of advantage of us in the market, and that's because we have very limited suppliers of fertilizer. Your local co-op, for the most part, is not taking advantage of you. This price is based on Nutrien, Mosaic, whoever's making that price. They have to pay that. I mean, it's not like they're marking it up a bunch. They're going to mark it up their normal amount. So that's not them taking advantage of you. And then the spot prices are just going to be nuts probably towards the end of fall. So if you got to get fertilizer, get it booked now. Chemicals, I don't foresee that being a huge jump, but you'll see a jump. And it's probably going to be more shipping in containers and everything else. Fuel, you know who to blame for that one. And all the other things that we're going to have is more just supply issues. And supply and delivery costs have gone up. So don't think people are taking advantage of you. Don't think people are trying to take money from the increase in commodity prices. Basically, they're just increasing their costs. Their costs have gone up, and they're trying to pass it along to you, which is the same thing we try to do. Anybody does that. So hopefully you guys enjoyed. I'll catch you next time.